close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go.
Good afternoon and welcome to a windy Van Nupen Arena for today's match between Vauxhall Motors and FC Isle of Man, brought to you by Baltic Apprenticeships. There's a bit of history happening today as Vauxhall face FC Isle of Man for the first time ever in this rearranged fixture, which was rearranged due to the Motors' involvement in the Emirates FA Cup. More on the opponents later, as Vauxhall stretched their winning run in the league to 4 after Tuesday night's 2-1 win against West Didsbury and Chorley. Mick McGraa said that was the team's toughest opponent so far this season, but they came through it with flying colours. Second half goals from Lewis Buckley, who continued his goal scoring form, making it 4 goals in as many league matches, and Sean Mosscrop kept Vauxhall motoring towards the upper half of the table. Defender Marcus James joined us to reflect on the start to the season and the game against West Didsbury and Chorlton, as well as looking ahead to today's game and what we can expect from FC Isle of Man. Marcus, thanks for joining us. 5 games played, 4 wins. How do you reflect on the start you've made this season?
I've started much better than when I came last season. Obviously struggled with injuries, but I've had a strong pre-season, and Joe and Mick have coached us how he wants us to play and defend as a unit, so it's been much easier starting the season knowing exactly what everyone's got to do.
You just mentioned Joe, you've struck up a really good partnership with him so far, centre half. Describe that partnership for us.
I've played with Joe 2018, 19 and 2020 at Vauxhall. He was left back, I was left centre half, and we played centre half together a few times, so I know him very well. That's why we know how each other play, kind of thing, so it's quite easy to form a good partnership.
Tom Mitchell came in for the last game. You lost another clean sheet. How difficult is it to play alongside a new partner at centre back?
It's not when it's Tom, because obviously I played with Tom quite a lot, and no matter what centre half we've got 4, potentially 5 available. We've all been told how he wants us to play, so we all know our jobs before we've even walked out onto the pitch, so it's pretty easy, to be honest.
You're facing FC Isle of Man, still a bit of an unknown quantity for most of the league. What are you expecting from them today, and what kind of game will it be?
I watched a bit of the last game. Joe sent us in, so they look big, strong, they like to get in behind, they've got a good lad as a number 10, but if we just stick to what we've been doing and we work as hard as we have been, then we shouldn't have many problems today.
Well, Marcus, thanks for joining us, good luck today.
Cheers, mate.
Still a relatively unknown quantity, FC Isle of Man were founded in 2019, and their entry into the footballing pyramid has been nothing short of dramatic. They played their inaugural match at their home ground, the Bowl, affectionately named the Burner Bowl by their supporters, where they beat Guernsey FC 1-0 in the Skipton Cup. The club's entry into the North West Counties Football League was postponed a year due to the COVID pandemic, but they finally made the Division 1 South bow in the 2021-22 season, drawing 1-1 with Main Road. After 15 consecutive away games, they finally played their first ever home league match against Brockton, winning 2-1 in front of 2012 supporters. They finished second to Vauxhall's previous opponents, West Didsbury and Chorlton, but were successful in the playoffs, beating New Mills 4-2 in the final and watched by an incredible crowd of 3,230. To see who comes out on top in today's first time ever fixture, I'm joined by a very special guest in the shape of North West Counties Football League Director Gary Langley. Gary, welcome to the Van Nupen Arena, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, pleasure to be here.
So I introduced you as a director of the North West Counties Football League, but in truth that doesn't cover the whole story. So tell us what your involvement at the North West Counties is.
Right, over the years that I've been involved with the counties, I have had numerous roles. I think I've done development, safeguarding officer at the moment, I've done media. Basically because we're all volunteers, but we are a volunteer committee and we evolved into a volunteer board. We all take on whatever job titles have to be done. It's not just about having a job title and then going out and doing that. we all muck in and we run the North West Counties Football League. So there's day-to-day business to attend to, there's weekly and monthly business to attend to, and of course annual business and accounts to be sorted as well. So there is a business side to the North West Counties Football League Limited as such, and I'm one of 7 directors who make up a board of directors of the league, and we have a wider league managing committee as well that stretches out now to 15 probably plus people. So there's a lot of people involved, but a job title is a loose guide more than anything, so it's a useful thing to have, but you do a lot.
You get around the grounds quite a lot, but to what extent do you feel a responsibility to spread the word about North West Counties and non-league football in general?
Yeah, it's a good question. You said being attacked by a wasp. As a league director, one of our responsibilities is to spread the word, increase the brand. Obviously, being a former development officer, one of my remits was to work and grow the league as such. So at a time, one time we were down to we had a Premier Division and we had a Division 1, and in that Division 1 we couldn't even fill it. So our remit was to expand, to consolidate, and to give other clubs a chance to get involved in the National League system, of course, which is what the North West County League is part of, and many other leagues. So we've expanded, consolidated, grew the brand, made it accessible, tried to give clubs a chance to develop. And now we've got obviously a Premier Division which is full and then some, and we've got a Division 1 North and a Division 1 South, which again we've got our full allocation of clubs, and we have got scope to expand in the future if there are clubs about, and any clubs that do want to develop, we're already giving some clubs who aren't members an opportunity to look at what they need to do to get into this level of football and beyond. So it's not just a case of a club deciding one year, yeah, we're going to go for it. You know, behind that, there's more often not 3, 5, or even 10 years planning behind that.
What would you say to people who've never experienced non-league football before, perhaps don't know where to start looking for a club and maybe want to get involved?
Have a look at the map and see where you've got. If you put in your town and football club, odds are there'll be a football club there or thereabouts. Word of mouth is pretty good. Obviously media is starting to really push on now. Of course we've got this channel. Things like this are really starting to go big because people are seeing the opportunity to get involved and see non-league football for what it is, and go along. You don't have to get involved. You can just go along and get a drink. You can watch the game. You can have a sit down, a bit of peace and quiet, or you can go along with a few mates. You can really have a drink. You can enjoy yourself. You can get involved in the banter at these games, or you can even go a step further and get involved and help run the club. I tend to find, having experienced senior football quite a lot and being involved in senior football in my time, it can be quite rigid. You've got a lot of guys walking around with high vis on. You get your phone out and you've got 5 sets of eyes on you in case you're trying to record it. You get a drink out, you can't have a bottle top on. You know, you've got to have it in a plastic glass. You've got to do this, that, and the other. You've got to stand. Non-league football isn't about any of that. It's about coming along, enjoying the football, watching a bit of competitive action, and enjoying yourself.
So Vauxhall's opponents today, FC Isle of Man, have made quite the splash in their incredibly short history. What's it like having them in the league?
I think it's really interesting. It's not a first time for an Ireland side to get into the National League system, because the likes of Guernsey and Jersey have arrived in recent years as well. But they are following a similar trait. I've been lucky enough to see both Guernsey and Jersey on the travels. I do tend to get around a little bit when not on league duty. But they really bring something different into the league by way of catchment area, by expectation, and by giving people an opportunity to play football as well. Obviously Chris Brass, the Isle of Man manager, he's got access to a whole league of players who he can sign up and bring into his squad, and that's a lot of what non-league football is about. It's about giving people an opportunity to go and play football, and of course it gives the people on the island an opportunity a chance to watch football, and that's been reflected in the crowds that they've had, and they've done quite well as well so far as well. They've got ambitions like many other clubs, but they do bring something different. In some ways they can bring a little bit of controversy as well. Some people don't necessarily like the fact that that there has to be a few amendments to getting a match day on. They're supplying the Isle of Man Steam Packet Company quite well with boat travel, and the local airlines done well out of it, but I think without clubs like the Isle of Man in there, you can't necessarily say everything's inclusive. We've got the whole of the Northwest represented in our league. Down south they've got the likes of Guernsey and Jersey, so wherever there's scope to get a team in, there are teams now representing all of these areas, and I think that's a good thing.
You mentioned the crowds, they get crowds, it's often in the thousands, and that can only be a benefit to everyone.
Absolutely. It's quite interesting. I was speaking to Martin Fallon the other day, who's another one of our league directors, and we were discussing how Isle of Man operate, and they've got to bring the coin in because they do need to pay for the opposition's travel, which in some ways is well documented, in some ways some aren't even aware of that. You know, they pay for the travel over, the stay over, and they've got to cover those overheads. It's good that there's a lot of appetite for football on the island, but it's a difficult one. I think they'll do okay. I think they do okay at the moment, but they do need to bring the people in, and whilst that appetite's there, it's great for everyone concerned. It's an interesting one with regards to the time of year. The crowds do fluctuate a little bit, which is interesting. I don't know what the reasons are behind that, but they still get really good crowds even at the lower end of the spectrum, so it's really great.
Well, we wish them all the best for their season, just not today. Thanks for now, Gary. Gary will be joining me on commentary duties for today's game, so let's see if FC Isle of Man add another win to their already impressive short history, or will Vauxhall continue their unbeaten run in the league.
Through the highways till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways.
Another
8 Ronan McDonald, 9 Adam Nealon, 10 Stephen Whitland, 11 Luke Murray.
Face a brand new opponent in the shape of FC Isle of Man. For today's game, I'm delighted to be joined by one of the head honchos of the North West Counties Football League, Gary Langley. Gary, thank you for joining us today.
It's a pleasure.
What do you make of Isle of Man, FC Isle of Man so far?
Doing okay so far. From FC Isle of Man's perspective, the opener on the opening day, home to Lower Brack. It wasn't a great occasion for them. There was a lot of logistical issues on the day. They lost a couple of players. Just no luck for them at all. But since then, they won 2-1 at Remica, and they beat Ashland to get home 2-1 the other day. So they are improving and adapting to Step 5 football, and I expect them to have a good season.
Well, on the flip side, Vauxhall are enjoying a very impressive run of form at the minute. 4 league games played, 4 wins. The only disappointment coming in the FA Cup. They'll be looking to stretch their winning streak in the league to 5. Just quickly run through the teams. In goal, as ever, number 1, James McClenaghan. The back 4 of Liam Turner, Greg Drummond, Marcus James and Thomas Mitchell, who retained his place after making his first start against West Isby and Shorten. Number 6, Hayden Cooper. Number 7, Michael Berkey on the wing. Continuing to captain the side, Ben Holmes, making his first start for the Motors this season. It's number 9, Bobby McDonald. And number 10, Jordan Deere. And a start for number 11, Francois Antoine. For the visitors, number 1, Dean Kearns. 2, Ashley Higginbottom. 3, Jacob Crook. 4, and captain in the side, Sean Quay. 5, Alex Maitland. 6, Jack Camada. 7, Lee Gale. 8, Ronan McDonald. 9, Adam Nealon. 10 Stephen Butley and 11 Luke Murray. And just before the game started, there was a wonderfully observed minute silence for former club secretary Ken Triggs, lovely man who sadly passed away this month.
This guy here, the number 9 for Seattle, I think it's Adam Nealon. Yeah, he's
There's a chance here for Antoine. He gets a shot away, but there's some weak claims for a penalty, but ref says play on.
It's interesting as well that Alaman are really pushing forwards early on, but they leave themselves quite exposed at the back. As I'm saying about Adam Nealon now, watched him last season, absolutely tremendous plays. He covers lots of ground and he's a right handful as well. So Motors will have a bit to do today to keep him in check.
Good link up play from Antoine and Holmes, but it just runs out of play. There's a flick on, so Clennan's forced to.
Took a bit of a risk.
Gale went for the. Not sure whether he went for that pass, but it looked like he was trying to chip the keeper.
Oh, they're working the ball well here. Oh, man.
Comes to Milan, the edge of the box. He gets a cross in. Not dealt with. And it fell to Kamada in the box. Gets a quick right for the shot away. And he smashes the frame of the goal. Vauxhall got away with one there.
There's me talking earlier on about smart defending from both sides, but FC Alaman had plenty of time there to work the ball around. Took it was good quality play there to cause confusion in the defence, but I feel that's a bit of a loss there for Vauxhall.
Space for Dia to turn into. He plays it to McDonald. Cuts inside. Oh,
the idea was right.
It's good intervention. He's all over there, and the referee gives a penalty.
I have to say, he's probably spot on there.
It's the captain.
Do you want? I'll go for that one.
It's the captain, Quay, done really well. Just intervening, McDonald looked like he turned him, but the ball fell to Berkey, and Berkey had the run of the ball, and he had to bring him down.
You might need that last sub here.
He's not looking good, Berkey. Did really well to win that penalty. That Holmes is going to step up and take. And he scores!
Great penalty just off to the right there.
Keeper goes the wrong way. And that's just a perfect start to the second half for the Motors.
Goes for the Vauxhall captain, Ben Holmes.
Look at the flow of the second half already. It's still end to end, just as the first half was. But obviously, they got the break there. The deflection off the defender didn't help that Alaman, and that caused confusion in amongst their own ranks. And you'd see that he was brought down. Penalty was a fairly straightforward decision to make, and to be fair to lad, he stuck it on well.
Keep it! Keep it! Keep it! Keep it!
Flag one as well.
Good!
Moscow can turn. He's looking for a pass, but he might go himself here. Finds him. He moves in space, he gets the cross in.
Oh,
Goal from McDonald.
Well worked.
Moscow seems to have all the time in the world to turn and pick his pass. He picks out Eaton, who was all alone on the right hand side, and just floated the cross in. McDonald just had to feather it in with his head, and Vauxhall 2-0 up.
Polar opposite of what we've just seen in the other dugout, where Alaman couldn't beat the front man, but still got the ball through.
Vauxhall were loaded at the front. On the other dugout for the goal, Vauxhall loaded at the back. It was almost, they knew where the ball was going to go, and they made the most of it. But no one there for the Isle of Man, so maybe a bit of fatigue kicking in there. But as I say all the time, the world to put that in. I think the game hasn't been helped by the amount of disruption that we've had in the second half. There's been numerous substitutions, a couple of incidents, a couple of injuries going on. It's been a bit scrappy, but it's working to Vauxhall's favour at the moment.
That's one thing that Mick McGraa was constantly talked about, how his team are showing up strong. Now, Deere on the edge of the box, he gets a shot away, he smacks the post. Good play from Holmes and Deere.
Playing the ball and they've just not had the end product for today.
Shot away. It's floated over McGraa.
You know what I was saying about the end product. Keeper just a bit too far off his line, or presented the opportunity on a late.
Jack McVeigh with the goal, and that makes it Vauxhall Motors 2, FC Isle of Man 1, and McLennan's looks like he's struggling. Everyone in the red shirt being urged to go forward, apart from the keeper. Comes in. It's a good header from Joe Heath. And that's that goes in for Vauxhall. It's an absolute scrap of a game. They're under the cosh for lots of time in that second half, but they come out 2-1 victors. Gary, what game?
It was absolute end-to-end, both halves. The game had everything. Two sides looking to create, both sides with players able to do it, but Isle of Man just a little bit off the boil up top for me today. They just lacked an edge, and that edge might well just been the ability to finish. It's difficult in games like this when you've got two very competent and capable sides, both sides creating every available opportunity as well. It's almost like the game didn't have a chance to settle. It was just end to end, and when you've got that going on, it makes it really interesting. And no players on either side today shared the challenge.
Absolutely.
Saw that in the game. Wholehearted challenges throughout. Plenty of bandages flying around, potentially an ambulance or two kicking around as well outside the ground. I think you just have to say it's a fair result. Isle of Man reflects today on chances missed, and maybe want to have a look at getting that first ball above the first defender. We can create more doing that, but I think overall I'd say a fair result. Vauxhall will be very happy with that result as well, but I think lots of positives from both sides to take from the game. Maybe a few injuries as well, but if you were a paying spectator today, you'd be very happy with what you've witnessed.
Absolutely.
Even at the service stage in the season, because the games do come thick and fast like this, you can see a pattern how the seasons are going to look for both teams. I think both teams are going to challenge as they go ahead. The pitch held up well as well. It's a dry pitch out there, let's make no mistake of that. But you can only play on what you've been on.
So final score, Vauxhall Motors 2, FC Isle of Man 1.
And you have to salute the goal from the Isle of Man as well.
Couple of announcements for those who make their way out to the ground. The next game here is Vauxhall Reserves on Tuesday night at home to Winsford. That's a 7:45 PM kick-off. And next Saturday at 3 PM the Vauxhall Reserves are at home to Marine under 23s, while the first team are away at Swallow Nest in the FA Bars at 3 PM kick-off. On Bank Holiday Monday, Vauxhall Motors are at home to Burscough at 3 o'clock kick-off here at the Van Newton Arena. Many thanks for your support today. Safe journey home.
Yeah, so I think on the short of it, both managers will be pretty much happy with what they've got. Chris Pratt will have a few questions to ask, but Mick McGraa, he's had his players go out, put a shift in, and they've got the rewards for it, albeit with a few knocks.
Well, I'm sure we all have
Just a correction for Tuesday night, it's the first team, Vauxhall Motors first team, at home to East of the North West Counties Premier Division. That's a 7:45 PM kick-off here at the Van Newton Arena.
plenty of injuries on both sides of the 10 live. It was an absolute battle from both teams, but high entertainment value. Goals from But it was a penalty from Ben Holmes and a second from Bob McDonald give Vauxhall Motors the 3 points and I think joint top of the table.
Just a correction for Lord Tuesday night, which is the home to wins for the North West Counties 7th Division. That's a 7:45 PM kick-off here at the Langley Arena.
It was quite a busy fixture schedule going ahead.
Yeah, bring them in.
These wins breed confidence, goals scored, chances created, lots of good value from the wing play as well. So yeah, as I said much earlier on the commentary, you look at this as a Mick McGraa side, and Mick McGraa sides do always try to break from the flanks of our team. Going forward, we've got some confidence.
Onwards and upwards, Vauxhall Motors are finishers, Motors 2, FC Isle of Man 1. Mick, first of all, Aaron Dawson went off with a nasty looking head injury. How's he doing?
He's gone to hospital. Looks a bad one, to be fair. Both lads have gone to hospital, which I hope the other lads okay as well. Wouldn't mind, he was running the show, wasn't he?
Did well when he came on, yeah.
Yeah, but obviously it's a bad cut. But obviously we'll just have to wait and see.
That was a different kind of performance to all the others so far this season. It was a real scrap out there.
Yeah, they make it a scrap, don't they? They're big, physical. I thought we were poor first half. We didn't keep the ball well enough. We caused them problems, and obviously they caused us problems. I mean, I've never played against a team with so many big lads. But I thought we dealt with all what they give us well, and we defended okay. But we just needed to get in half time and shuffle a few things around. And then a full second half, we were on it, and 2-1. I think 2-1 flatters them, to be honest, because the game should have been over. 2-0. Then obviously keeper gets injured, lets one in, and it's a near the end, isn't it? But we saw it out.
What was the situation there, James?
He pulled aside with about 20 to go. Sometimes you need to go in the bench, don't you? I don't really believe in it, but maybe we need to look at that. But yeah, we still done a job for us, and you know, credit to him. And I think we'd have kept a clean sheet. Another one, it would have been good, but we should have made life easier for ourselves. But another 3 points in it.
Bobby McDonald was a pestle game and he got the goal that his performance warranted.
Yeah, no, it was made up for him. Obviously, he missed the first couple of games because of obviously his contract situation with Macclesfield, but obviously missing Lewis today it's a big loss to us, and Saab as well. So he come in, he stepped up. I thought he done okay. He grew into the game, and I know his fitness levels are getting better. So I think he'll be a threat in the next couple of games for us.
5 out of 5. Just
yeah,
keeps going.
Yeah, well, we had a points tally for 6 games in the season, trying to do it in blocks of 6. We've gone over that. So you know, anything else is a bonus, but no, everyone's happy. It's a good place to be in when you're winning games, and you know, we've been on the other side last season where we were losing games, so we've got to keep going.
Keep on going. Well done, Mick. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.